How are the globalists going to conquer America and the rest of the world? Playing us off against each other, trying to stage riots around the country to legitimize the globalist federal, state, local takeover. It's real simple. I've been talking about it for an hour, really trying to warn people. Obama and Sharpton and the rest of the socialist globalist crowd are trying to hype this up. The NFL's hyping it up when they're not promoting taking your guns or open borders or Obamacare. Let's go to your phone calls. What is your line in the sand, and what are you doing to stop that line being crossed? And if it does all kick off and we can't fix things, how do you expect this civil war to go? I'm going to tell you at the bottom of the hour, and remind me guys to do it, how I think if things go bad, what it's going to look like. One prime scenario. There's a lot of scenarios. I'm going to tell you how I think this is all going to go down and what my FBI, CIA, Defense Intelligence, Navy Intelligence, Special Forces, Major Generals retired, top analyst, top economist. I'm going to tell you what the grid looks like and why elites have all been hauling butt to the countryside and digging in. Let's talk to George in Connecticut. George, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. I think we should bombard just about every institution we're involved with or near. Everything from the Knights of Columbus to churches to the police put flyers on their car, basically showing them that the Rand Corporation, that basically this is a communist Illuminati takeover. Give them information like on Major Jordan's diaries. Most people forgot about this guy. He basically uncovered how we were basically funding the communists and giving them all the secrets of and the supplies for building the bomb and everything.
And
like
that's all been declassified, by the way. The Wall Street Journal about a decade ago had the headline, and it was also the New York Times, that McCarthy was right in that it really was all true, and the Pentagon was ordered with the Carnegie Endowment to literally create the Soviet Union.
Right, and then give them maybe pass out CDs with that because there's interviews with Major Jordan's diaries that they can listen to. Pass out CDs with that on. The Best Enemies people can money can buy by Anthony Sutton, things like that. So it really wakes people up, and then the great. And the financing communism through people like the Skull and Bones, through Charlotte Iserby. When you make all those connections and see they're all connected in with the secret societies, the bankers, and one of the things, I mean, I wish I could ask you, but this is one of the topics, is how they basically were using Hitler, setting him up as a boogeyman so they could give a smoke screen for 70 years for all the communists and all the various groups.
Absolutely, 100%. The Carnegie Endowment, the Rockefeller Brothers Foundation, and this is in #1 New York Times best-selling history books that won the Pulitzer Prize. It's in a couple of them that won the Pulitzer Prize, 2 of them. IBM and the Holocaust and 1 other. Shearer's Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. I think it's more than 2 Pulitzer Prize-winning books. Off the Nuremberg documents. Our government, with the British government, created, financed, and then double-crossed Hitler. Hitler was told the West was going to act like in fact, I'll talk about it at the bottom of the hour because I promise to get to other points, but because this ties into the master plan, it is on record, folks, that Hitler was told he could have Czechoslovakia and France and all these other places, and he was a terrible guy. But the point is, and then he turned in, took over those areas. The French stood down. I mean, the French didn't fight. The Blitzkrieg was a joke. It was just given to them. French I mean, Hitler, a few days after the invasion, was in Paris parading with French police holding the crowds back. It was like handing keys over. And they'd paid them all off and then put the French military in control. That most of the Germans pulled out and went back to Germany. And then they set Hitler up and double-crossed him. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it goes to the mindset of these globalists, how dangerous they are, just like they created Al-Qaeda. Well, we predicted it with precision back on July 17th of this year with an article and a special emergency alert that the federal government and the Justice Department, the criminally occupied, seized government, it's not our government, folks. It's totally illegitimate, sold out to foreign interests, signing secret foreign treaties, the president's implementing outside of law, tax increases, open borders, UN gun treaties, cutting off our energy supplies, internet regulations. They're just seizing power. And that's not Alex Jones saying that now. It's Krauthammer. And it's Jonathan Turley, the big liberal professor, saying Obama has tripled the abuses of Bush. This is happening. So what are they going to do? Well, there's a lot of false flags they're going to pull. But the big one we can see the preparations for is race war in this country. And they've got it primed that the next time, out of millions of cops and 300 and something million Americans, that a black person gets shot questionably by the police, and there's a lot of cases where there's bad shootings by the police, that the whole country will go up in flames, basically. And they're fanning the flames. So I'm asking the question, what is your line in the sand? Is there a legitimate revolution? How do you fight a modern globalist tyranny? You expose the Federal Reserve as a foreign private bank and not federal. You expose that they've been taking over the states. You expose that they've signed us on to derivatives that aren't our debt. You expose that America has been conquered by globalists. But at the bottom of the hour, I'll break down what I think the Civil War, if it happens, if we can't stop it, will look like. So what is your line in the sand? And am I wrong to say it's bad to shoot at firefighters for no reason? Or to shoot up the Mexican consulate because you're against open borders? That only makes the cause of freedom look bad. The system wants us to violently revolt because then they can shut off debate. And the system is moving the internet kill switches, all of it into place, and announcing the internet kill switch now. And government break-ins are happening now. They're gearing up. They're moving on all fronts. This is an incredible time to be alive. Let's go to your phone calls. Let's go to Nicholas in Missouri, listening on the free iPhone app. You can find it at Infowars.com/show. Thanks for calling, Nicholas.
Not a problem, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. I just want to say that my line in the sand was crossed even before I was born. I was born into a Latter-day Saint family, homeschool, anti-TV, learn how to shoot weapons, before I hit puberty, stocking food, just keeping informed. And I want to, those people yesterday who were calling in saying that my line in the sand is when they come take people to the FEMA camp. You think they're going to, just skip over your house? What if the Civil War that you're talking about and everybody's talking about happens today? We're too unorganized. We need to organize. We need to form some sort of, this local level and then get it bigger, because it is coming and they do have time on their side. And if it happened today, it would be a slaughter.
The point I'm getting at, and you make an excellent point getting to organization, is that if you try to organize something peaceful that's large, the infiltrators and the infighters come out of the woodwork. And if you let them into your organization, they quickly then start making stuff up, start trying to sabotage, start trying to get you to do something wrong, start implying what you're doing is criminal to set you up. And then you find out they're actually connected to the feds. We've had this happen a couple times. This is not a game, folks. And what I'm getting at is there are more ways than just a shooting war with this, because the average person, even in the government, believes they're carrying out a legitimate function. They don't realize the government's been compromised and taken over. That's why we have to point out it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, it doesn't protect us, it's wrong. You were spying on us without warrants, non-terror related. You are trying to get our guns. Obamacare was a massive screw job. Government has a 7% approval rating. That's a government that's illegitimate right there. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of positive things happening and a huge awakening across the political spectrum. That's why the system wants a smokescreen of race war to try to lead to a civil war, so they can then stage some terror attacks and say the Liberty Movement did it. The reason I don't think this guy that shot up the police station, the Mexican consulate, and the federal building was a staged event is they weren't waiting to jump on it instantly. He was killed quickly. And it just, you learn how to see these things. It doesn't fit in with the MO. A Sandy Hook, we caught Bloomberg a day before, sending out the email saying, prepare to activate our program for a mass shooting to use the crisis to restrict guns. And they implemented their on-the-streets operatives and their mayors and other operatives in every city to hit the bricks. I mean, we're catching them, folks. We're really catching them when they pull stuff off. What do you say to that?
No, I totally agree. It's just, I mean, you scream it all the time. What are people going to take? You know what? And I think 90% of the people in this country will take, you know, death. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. We need to continue awakening people. We need to just organize. And I mean, I know it's real hard because once you get big enough, like, you know, Occupy, you know, you do get the feds in there and they do crumble it. Like they have the Tea Party. I remember going in Utah to the grassroots Tea Parties back in 08, 09, and they just turned it into a corporate. I know it's a lot different. Than,
yeah, that's how they took that over, because you couldn't get anybody to call for violence or communism or killing police or, you know, throwing Molotov cocktails. So what they do with the Democrats is they created Occupy knowing there was anger at corruption in Wall Street. They didn't want it to be legitimate, reform the Federal Reserve or get rid of it. They wanted it to be communism's the answer. You know, capitalism caused the Wall Street crisis. No, crony, insider, basically fascist capitalism or insider rigged capitalism caused it. So the Democrats and the Soros group promoted Occupy, got a bunch of people out there that were legitimately angry. But when the Democrats couldn't turn it into a political army, they flushed it. 36 cities, was it 37, in one night were raided viciously by the police under federal control. Because, again, the feds won't come after your city and call you racist or whatever if you let them be in command. That's how this works. And it was leaked by WikiLeaks. The FBI confirmed it was accurate. The FBI had snipers there waiting for the order to kill all the Occupy leaders. Nonviolent. And they were given a presidential authorization to murder all the leaders. Now, you think about that. And they didn't do it this time. They were seeing what the FBI would do when they dispatched their sniper teams. And you know what? They followed the orders. They dispatched sniper teams to 30-plus cities and trained guns on the Occupy useful idiots on average and were prepared to kill them. And when I went around to Occupy events with my, in the Fed rallies, I did 3 in Texas, their grassroots liked me and were like, yeah, Federal Reserve, we should get rid of it. But their leaders were all snarling Ford Foundation commies. And they knew exactly what they were doing. So those wouldn't be the leaders that were going to be sniped. It was leaders in Occupy that they didn't control. So you want to know what happens in a civil war? When the globalists launch their Night of the Long Knives putsch, I'll talk about it coming up. Appreciate your call, Nicholas. Wild man in Texas, you're on the air.
Hey, God bless you, brother. Appreciate everything.
Appreciate you.
My line was drawn. I mean, I've been upset or outraged at the establishment for years since I watched steel mills go down and stuff like that. And but my line was drawn when my wife died of ALS. She was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré in 2010. And February, they re-diagnosed her with ALS, and she passed away Memorial Day of 2013, and she was 53 years old. And I took care of her here in my house, and I watched her go downhill, and I took off work so I could take care of her because I wouldn't put her in a home. But she could not bear children, and she lived in South Korea. Her dad was in the military, and so she got all these inoculations back then when she was a child. She was actually kicked out of South Korea because of some stuff. She was pretty wild, but she was my co-partner, wild woman. Anyway, so when that happened, I started investigating what she had, trying to figure out what she had. And then Sandy Hook came about, and that's incidentally how I found you, or InfoWars. And I'm agreeing with you. I don't want to do anything violent. I don't think that would be the answer right at this point. I won't become violent until they try to take me to some camp or put me somewhere or one of my grandkids or somebody where we're not supposed to be.
Well, and here's the problem. They are going to lose a peaceful revolution with us of ideas. So they're going to try to give the orders to the police and the social workers that will cause good men to start fighting. And you've hit the nail directly on the head here. I started the broadcast with the Sydney Morning Herald. Flu's vaccine death toll rises in Italy to 13. I guarantee it's a lot higher than that. Ladies and gentlemen, ALS, Lou Gehrig's, Guillain-Barré, you can look at the numbers. They try to hide them, but it is tens of thousands of percentage higher. When Lou Gehrig had Lou Gehrig's, it was so rare it didn't have a name. Now, I go in restaurants, I see people, kids are shaking, young women are shaking. Half the women, it seems I know, have got like colon cancer, lung cancer, young people. I mean, I go see kids at sporting events. They look like they've been hit by a mutation ray. And the line in the sand here is, I'm going to skip this network break. This is so important with the caller. Don't hang up, Wild Man. Is that it's all find the cure for ALS. It's all find the cure for breast cancer. Why? Never a discussion of why is it exponentially rising. Well, glyphosates grow breast cancers and grow prostate cancers, and it's in every water supply in the country. Every water supply is contaminated. Every one. Well water, aquifer, city water, it's full of it. Estrogen. That's what glyphosate is. Chemical estrogen to kill plants, and it bioaccumulates. You wonder why men look like women and are fat no matter how much they exercise? You want to know why men's genitals are shriveling and women's are growing larger? Because you're basically on steroids. You're on a sterol. It's all a sick joke in Ecoscience written by the White House science czar laughing at you and your family. And I can hear how much you loved your wife, sir. It makes me want to throw up to think about all the things they're doing to us. We are seen as a scourge by the elite. We're being soft-killed. The problem is if they give 40 homeless people a flu vaccine in one Czech Republic or one Polish homeless center and 22 of them die, type in 20, I think it was 22. 20 homeless die after flu shot. In one facility. Now, see, that's a batch a little too strong. You're meant to go off and die 20 years later. You're meant to crawl off and die 5 years later. I mean, I know all these veterans, people who have served 3 tours, 5 tours, 10 tours, I mean, more. There it is. London Telegraph. Homeless people die after bird flu vaccine trial in Poland. And what's the number that died? 21 people died. Okay, I said 22. Pretty good memory. That was from 2008. I think another article said like 25. One said 22. That's why I'm saying that. But 21, excuse me. Now, they tell the doctors now, if somebody collapses in the hospital, we've got to admit it's the vaccine. Hope it happens that night. And usually you put your 18-month-old Billy or Jenny down. They say, I love you, Daddy. I love you, Mommy. You read them books. They're running around. You wake up in the morning, and they don't talk for a couple days, and they got a fever. And then afterwards, they're gone. They've been wiped. It was just meant to brain damage them, the autoimmune response. And I was on the elliptical last week, and it made me so angry. They had a woman on CBS morning show, whatever those are, the national show, and I happen to be monitoring that globalist transmission, all the hype and product placement. And they had this woman on. I was reading the teleprompter, reading the closed captioning. I didn't have the audio on. And it was like she was happy. She was 40. Their daughter was 3. She was a beautiful woman. And, she was a fitness, enthusiast and had a great corporate job. And it was like this good-looking, happy woman with her child and living the dream. And then something happened, and certainly her feet were numb and her hands were numb. And then it got worse, and then now she's got a tracheotomy on a breathing machine, and it shows her sitting there, and she'll be dead soon. And I went brain inflammation from vaccines. And they cut to a CAT scan, a brain scan, going, they don't know why ALS is up and what's causing the inflammation here on the brain that causes the brain damage. And they never said, but I'll bet you my right hammer, 100%, if I could talk to that woman. If I took screenshots on my phone. It's actually on my phone if you go through them from like a week ago. And we maybe have somebody find that episode and contact that woman. I bet $10,000. In fact, I want to fly her here and pay her to come because I know they may be politically correct and don't want to admit it. Because you're supposed to be cheerful and just let them kill you. I guarantee you he took a flu shot or a Gardasil or something because I've seen it thousands of times. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in Colombia. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in Mexico. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in America. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in Canada, Poland, Germany, Russia, Nigeria, Japan. Japan and India have basically banned giving kids vaccines. The Japanese go, we give our kid this, they don't talk again. The Indians, for all their problems, banned Gardasil 4 years ago. That's a country where they forcibly sterilize women. And the Indians said, this doesn't just sterilize them, it makes women really sick. That's immoral. We'll grab women off the streets and sterilize them, but we won't want to soft kill them. Fox News, mom blames daughter's paralysis on flu shot. I know 2 Austin talk show hosts. One of them even routinely attacks me now for no reason. I don't even going to say their names. I don't even care. I'm eating dinner with them probably 10 times, known them for 15 years or more. And one of the last times I was in there on the show, he goes, yeah, no, you're right. I took the flu shot, and my hands and feet were numb for 3 months. And I went to the doctor, and he said, no, you have Guillain-Barré from the shot. And then I'm told every week by people he just trashes me. All because one time I was behind the stage, and he knows Joe Rogan too, and we're back there, and we're arguing about JFK, and Joe kind of got in his face in front of his wife. And, man, he got really upset and kind of ran out. So he didn't want to believe JFK was killed by more than one person. And he also knows he got Guillain-Barré that luckily went away, may come back. See, if you just get your hands and feet numb, oh, well, that's all right, huh? How about being on the breathing machine, So they call it ALS. They call it early onset of Alzheimer's, all these neurological disorders. You and I are being murdered. And by the way, you know how this works? There's probably a cop listening to us right now in Kansas City or Oklahoma City or Chicago or somewhere else around the country. And they're thinking this guy's extreme and isn't as bad as he says. And that cop's wife's going to take their son in for a shot next week. And Bobby or David or whatever his name is going to have a convulsion at night and maybe have blood come out of his nose. And then the CPS is going to come and ask the officer, did you shake your kid? And he's going to say no. And then your son's going to be in diapers for the rest of his life. He was catching a football at 1.5 years old. He's going to sit there and yell at you with autism thousands of times a day for the rest of your life because you believed in the satanic devil system. And people don't care. They'll still bring their kids in there, and they'll line them up and take those shots all day long. And then I'm the bad guy for not believing in the system. It's not that vaccines couldn't be somewhat safer and effective. If there's a deadly pathogen out there and you can attenuate it, it's proven it can teach your body how to beat it. Just like eating local honey with allergies did better for me than Claritin or bee pollen locally. That's an inoculation. The old timers said, you're allergic to something, eat more of it. They used to make grass tea, if folks had hay fever. They'd take the stuff out of the fields, brew it up, and you'd take it. Vaccination isn't just 500 years old from the smallpox vaccine they invented in England. It's thousands of years old. I believe in it. This isn't vaccines, ladies and gentlemen. This is social engineering. And this is a real man who called in, whose wife died slowly, painfully. Imagine hands and feet start getting numb. Can't move your limbs. Oh, my gosh, now you can't walk right. Now all of a sudden you can't move your body. Now it's all the way up to your head, and you're breathing, and people are changing your diaper every day. You're 42 years old. The New World Order deep sixed you, hit you and hit you hard, and it's going to go on hurting you until you wake up. New York Daily News about 7 years ago. I cried when I read it. CPS finally had a heart. The CPS went and reported that they take little black kids to pesticide facilities where they test drugs and pesticides, and how the 7-year-old fought for his life and tried to break out, so they strapped the little black boy down and fed him pesticide intravenously until he died, and no one got in trouble. Now, if I saw people rioting over that, I might join them. But they better be tearing the people that did it limb from limb. Do you understand that? Excuse me. It really gets me, folks. Wild man, finish your story. We're going to break here. Finish your story.
Yeah, you just like you said, it started with her feet, and when she finally went, she was on a ventilator and belly feeding through a tube, and I had to take care of her that way, and everything quit working but her brain.
Oh, God.
And she would ask me, she'd say, "Daddy, when am I going to die?" And I just have to tell her, when am I going to die? I don't know. But we're not dead right now, so let's make the best of it we can. And when she passed away, I was whispering in her ear, "I will see you again. This ain't goodbye. This is just see you later."
Oh, my God.
And ever since that time, I guarantee you that there is no way. The way I'm fighting it right now is I go out and I tell everybody about InfoWars. I became a...
Stay there. I'm gonna have you finish up. That's why I don't care about the death threats and the dirty tricks and any of it. Big deal, the New World Order kills me. They're murdering everybody through the vaccines and the food, folks. Who cares if they kill one of us? We got to stop them. The Nazis had a plan developed in England by the eugenicists that once they took over the world, they had to kill people slowly so that they wouldn't rise up. And they were going to adulterate the food and medicine with sterilants and what they called soft kills. There's Pentagon reports on it. You can pull up Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars and learn all about what's really going on against you and your family. And as always, the people that work for the system are under the greatest attack. The guys, when I was talking about them giving pesticides to foster children, just searched it and pulled it up. San Francisco Chronicle, USA Today, you name it. But they're always whitewashes. Like, is it ethical that they take kids that don't have AIDS and test drugs on them? You mean cancer drugs that kill them a lot of times? I don't know. Is it ethical to give a rat chemotherapy test? No, it's not. Much less a little kid. But black folks want to get mad. It's usually black folks they grab. For whatever reason, just people don't believe the black mamas. They came into the one black lady in the New York Daily News article, and they said, "We're going to take your 2-year-old, but if you agree to let us have the 7-year-old and don't buck it, you can keep your 2-year-old." And they took her 7-year-old son, and they strapped him down, and they murdered him. And nobody's coming to save him. Al Sharpton's not going to say one stinking word because he works for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And you're not going to hear one stinking word out of all the racist communists out there running the demonstrators and running the Molotov cocktails. You're not going to hear nothing. Because the average person's a coward, and they love this system. They love being part of it. They love having those dead kids on their soul. Now they're in the news saying kill kids up to age 5. They've got the different pediatric journals saying kill them up to age 3 even if they're healthy. Kill old people. Kill everybody. Just don't be racist. You going to see any black NFL players get on the microphone when they win the Super Bowl and say, stop killing 52% of black people before they're born? You going to hear anything about black kids being used for medical experiments? No, they'd get sanctioned for that. Just like when I was on CNN and I said, why don't you look into Prozac-type drugs, doubling and tripling, quadrupling suicide, mass murder suicide pills? What about a bunch of your sponsors, Eli Lilly and others? Ooh, they cut off that third segment real quick. But I'm not a hero, folks. I know for a fact neurological disorders are off the chart from the pesticides and the vaccines and the GMO. I mean, they feed GMOs, different types, to guinea pigs and stuff. Within a few months, they can't even walk straight. You know how tough we are, how tough our liver is, how tough our gallbladder is, how tough our bodies are to take all this? So, hey, you think it's a joke? Just get ready for your pancreas to go out. Just get ready for that colon cancer. Just get ready for your hands to start shaking. And a year later, you're on a respirator, unable to talk, in hell, begging for death. And don't worry, the minute your insurance runs out, they're going to dehydrate you over 14 days. And your skin's going to blacken and cracks of blood. By the way, this all sounds scary. You should be scared. Because there's real monsters that run this civilization, and they count on you being naive and not admitting it and not knowing it. Well, okay then. Don't believe me. You eat GMO, you drink fluoride water, you drink high fructose corn syrup, you listen to the White House regulations czar saying that nobody should get sunlight, period. You listen to him. Hell, next will tell you don't need oxygen. You believe in this system. You do whatever it says then. I don't believe a word of it. Look at this CNS News article from those evil racist conservatives. It's always those evil racist conservatives that put out headlines like New York City, 78% of abortions were black and Hispanic babies. But you know why I don't want to kill all the black babies? Because I'm a racist cracker ass. Just like some of the thugs were saying. You tell Alex I'm coming for him. You tell him. I'm telling Jakari he's a sellout because he wants everybody to be free and doesn't think we should kill babies. See how that works? That's how sick all this is. All right, I said I'd get into how they'd carry out a civil war and how I think it would unfold if we don't beat it. I promise I'll do it today after next hour. I just need to get refocused. I need to write some notes. It's such a heavy subject, I kind of don't get into it because it takes a lot of brain power to fluently break down the different angles of it, but I will do it today after. You can punch me in the nose. I'm going to go back and let Wildman finish in Texas and try to hurry through these calls, but it's very touching to me. My gosh. I know personally, almost everyone I know tells stories about their son, their daughter, their father, their mother, their brother, their sister. About a third of the time, it's veterans they know. Good friends of theirs that could run 20 miles with a pack on their back and, special forces, you name it. And then they're in a wheelchair and can't wipe their own rear end, and they think it's from the vaccines. Because it finally builds up and you take that final shot out of the hundreds they give you if you're in the military, and how the military, when they started saying it might be the vaccines, tried to not even give them VA treatment. It's just everybody I know. They're killing us. But we're all isolated. We're all by ourselves. So we talk about what's your line in the sand. I think we're coming to it here. It's medical tyranny. It's the sneaking, creepy hand of GMO in the food, in the water, in the vaccines. They're hitting us and laughing at us and writing books about it. I think it was BBC and also Wired Magazine. The shot is a serviceman seated having brain surgery. They kind of lean you back like in a space chair, and they've got metal rods holding the brain, and they've got the top of his head chopped off, the top cone, the skull, and they're in his brain placing chips so he won't have PTSD anymore. The article was about brain chips help the troops not be depressed. Headline, troops made to serve too many tours and been given deadly drugs and vaccines, turned into basically robots to control them, to end their emotions. But then buried in that article and several others, it's like, but the really promising thing is vaccines that go in and change the chemistry of the brain to where you don't get upset anymore. There it is. The military's building brain chips to treat PTSD. Defense One. Let's actually click on the link. They're at Defense One. Let's scroll down. How can you predict your next mood swing? Well, we got a brain chip for it. And that's not the article, but that's just another one about it. We're talking about the end of free will here. We're talking about a science fiction movie. I know I just keep saying that. All this other stuff is window dressing. And Bill and Melinda Gates are coming out with the UN with not dozens, but hundreds of vaccines in corn, in watermelons, in food that pollinates and will spread to other plants in the same family to where you cannot escape them. And if they're publicly saying that, they're already jacking with everything. The reason they haven't released super hardcore stuff yet that isn't soft kill is because they want to make sure it doesn't blow back on them. So they're looking for the treatments or cures to everything they're doing. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. This is happening. This is going on. Wild man, please continue or finish your point.
Yeah, the thing is, the way I'm fighting back is I'm spreading the word about InfoWars. I became a member and signed on, and then the day after you upped it to 20 people could be on your your sign-on, with you. A guy at Texas Roadhouse, he blows up balloons for little kids. He listens to you all the time, but he couldn't afford it, so I gave it to him too, but I give it to everybody. I'm giving it to over 40 to 50 people on the phone in other states far away. And my wife passed away in Monteith. I'm a Monteith that called in when Dr. Stan Monteith passed away. And we're proud of that name. And you know, if you ever need a cameraman, I blend gasoline for a living. I make gas, so I can surely be trained how to use a camera. If you ever need one, you call me up. I'll be there, because if that's what I got to do to fight this war, that's what I'll do.
Well, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. We used to charge, only one person can use each $5.95 a month membership, because bandwidth and infrastructure, when we started that site 15 years ago, was super expensive. And sometimes we lost money because we were charging too little. Now bandwidth has gone down so much, we can pay for the cameras, the reporters, and the infrastructure with a $5.95 membership that 20 people can use. Just don't use a username passcode that you have for other stuff, then it's totally safe. Create an original username and passcode and share it with friends and family. You can also call. We can help sign you up over the phone if you don't want to do it via debit card or credit card. You can call 888-253-3139. It's $59.95 for a year. It's $5.95 a month, but now it's $29.95 today, and we may extend it for a few days if you get a PrisonPlanet.tv membership. I'm glad that you raised that. We're doing this special for Cyber Monday right now, but if you have a membership, share it with friends and family, or download the HD videos or the lower res if that's easier. Put them on disc. Give them to people. You can download all my films, burn them to disc, give them to friends and family. This is how we reach out to folks. And again, there's a typo on the site that says $99.95 is what it was, or whatever. It was never that. It was $59.95. And now we're going to get that changed. Now it is $29.95. That is half price, PrisonPlanet.tv. And briefly, the other specials. I haven't even said this today. This is the big special. I should be saying this every segment. So we fund ourselves with these high-quality products and these specials at InfoWarsStore.com. Everything. Pro Pure water filters, clearly filtered, shortwave radios, solar-powered crank flashlights and shortwave radios, T-shirts, belt buckles, Made in America products, films, you name it. Everything is free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com today. And we're going to extend this out for a couple days. I don't know how long we can afford it, but on this Cyber Monday, free shipping on everything. You can buy DNA Force and get 2 bottles of Survival Shield free, a $60 value. We've got colloidal silver, 20% off and free shipping. And if you buy 4 bottles, you get a 5th free. You can buy 1 and get 20% off and free shipping. We've got, again, 50% off PrisonPlanet.tv. We've got 30% off and free shipping on Super Male and Super Female Vitality until it sells out. The silver is almost sold out. That's InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. Free shipping across the board. Savings of up to 30% on InfoWarsLife.com products. Free shipping. Buy 4, get 1 free. Just so many specials. The biggest specials we've ever run. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, MadeIn1776.com. Free shipping on everything. Half off on InfoWars Nightly News subscriptions. PrisonPlanet.tv, all of it. Globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.